The story begins with a group of explorers led by Sophia, who are searching for a massive female shark named Lilith in the Pacific Ocean. Suddenly, their system receives an alert indicating that Lilith has moved extremely close to their location. Sophia immediately orders all the divers to descend into the water and approach the shark from behind. Several divers jump into the ocean, including Sophia's husband, Chris. After searching for a while, the divers discover the body of a small dead whale. Nobody can understand how it died. Chris swims closer to examine the whale and notices several large shark bite marks covering its body. Suddenly, a large group of female sharks appears from the darkness. The team realizes that these sharks are actually Lilith's daughters. Just then, Lilith herself emerges, leaving everyone completely shocked. Lilith has grown to nearly twice her previous size. Just 2 months ago, when the team came to observe her, she was only about 3 meters long. Now, in just 2 months, she has grown to an incredible 7 meters. Sophia is amazed but immediately tells Chris to collect a sample from Lilith so they can discover the secret behind her rapid growth. Chris bravely moves closer to the massive shark to take the sample. Chris carefully approaches Lilith to collect the sample, but the giant shark suddenly attacks him. At that exact moment, the connection between Chris and Sophia is cut off. Sophia becomes extremely worried and immediately dives into the ocean to search for her husband. As she reaches the deeper waters, she discovers Chris's severed arm floating nearby. There is no sign of Chris or any of the other divers. Sophia realizes that the sharks have attacked the entire. Despite the horrifying discovery, Sophia refuses to give up. She decides that she must somehow obtain a sample from Lilith. She cautiously approaches the enormous shark and tries to collect a biological sample, but Lilith suddenly attacks her as well. Sophia manages to escape the attack, but she becomes trapped in a large underwater net. Lilith grabs the net and begins dragging Sophia deeper and deeper into the ocean. Sophia struggles desperately inside the net as Lilith pulls her toward the dark depths of the ocean. Just when it seems impossible to escape, Sophia manages to free herself from the net and swim back toward safety. Exhausted but alive, she finally escapes the deadly encounter. 3 years later, the story moves to Paris, where 2 young boys are fishing in the Seine River. Suddenly, something heavy gets caught in their fishing net. When they pull it up, they discover that is an old bomb. The 2 boys are shocked by the discovery and immediately inform the police about the bomb. News spreads quickly and reporters arrive at the scene. The police reassure everyone that there is no reason to panic. They explain that during World War II, shells and missiles were stored and used around this area, so old explosives are occasionally discovered in the river. The officers assure the public that the situation is under control and that the river is safe. The story then takes us to a whale conservation center, where we see Sophia once again. However, she has completely abandoned her shark research. Instead, she now spends her time educating children about marine life and teaching them about different species of fish. During one of her lectures, Sophia notices a few boys making fun of her. They sarcastically ask where the sample is that her husband was supposed to bring back, joking that perhaps the shark killed him and left only the sample behind. Their cruel words deeply hurt. Sophia becomes deeply upset by the boys' comments and leaves the lecture. As she walks outside, a young woman named Nora stops her. Nora tells Sophia that she is her biggest fan and has followed all of her research, especially her work involving sharks. Sophia replies that she abandoned all of that research on the day her husband died. She asks Nora not to remind her of those painful memories because they still hurt. As Sophia tries to leave, Nora reveals something shocking. She discovered that Sophia had placed a tracking device inside Lilith's body. Sophia is Nora takes Sophia to her organization so they can talk in more detail. Sophia discovers that Nora created the organization to protect marine animals because she deeply cares about creatures living in the ocean. Nora explains that she has been monitoring Lilith for the past 3 years. Then she reveals shocking news. Lilith is now in the Seine River. Sophia is stunned and says that this is impossible because sharks cannot survive in freshwater. Nora explains that climate change and pollution have changed Lilith's biology, allowing her to survive in this unusual environment. Nora explains that her organization is trying to save Lilith by returning her to the ocean before she dies in the polluted river. She tells Sophia that she plans to dive into the Seine that very night and asks Sophia to join her. Nora wants them to find Lilith together and safely guide her back to her natural habitat. Sophia is immediately concerned and warns Nora that diving into the river is extremely dangerous. Lilith is not an ordinary fish. She is one of the most dangerous sharks in the world, and getting close to her could cost Nora. Sophia leaves Nora and returns home. Once there, she watches the videos from her husband Chris's final mission. The memories become overwhelming, and Sophia breaks down in tears. She remembers that she was the one who told her team that she would join them on that mission. Ever since Chris and the other divers died, Sophia has carried a heavy sense of guilt, believing that their deaths were somehow her fault. Meanwhile, Nora is preparing for her own mission on the Seine. Nora is on a boat in the Seine River with her friend Bin. Nora asks Bin if she is going to get into the water with her, but Bin refuses. She tells Nora that she will stay on the boat and keep watch while Nora searches for Lilith. Nora then dives into the river alone and begins looking for the giant shark. Meanwhile, Sophia is monitoring Lilith's movements through the tracking system. Suddenly, she notices that Lilith is moving directly toward Nora. Realizing that Nora is in serious danger, Sophia immediately calls the police. Sophia tells the police that Nora has entered the river alone to search for a dangerous shark. Meanwhile, Nora continues searching underwater. She eventually discovers a car covered with strange marks that appear to have been caused by a shark attack. Suddenly, Nora hears police sirens approaching the river. She realizes that the police have arrived and quickly climbs out of the water, attempting to leave the area before they find her. However, the police catch her and arrest her for entering the restricted river area. Sophia arrives shortly afterward and watches as Nora is taken into custody. Sophia cannot do anything to help Nora, so she remains near the river throughout the night, carefully tracking Lilith's movements. The next morning, Nora is still at the police station because she refuses to explain why she entered the river. She simply tells the officers that she went there to take a swim. The investigating officer Adil does not believe her story. He tells Nora that she will not be released until she tells them the truth and stops pretending that she was merely... Nora finally tells Adil the truth. She went into the river because she was searching for a shark. Adil laughs and thinks she is joking. He points out that the Seine is heavily polluted and asks how a shark could possibly have gotten there in the first place. Nora insists that she is telling the truth and that she really saw evidence of a shark in the water. However, Adil remains unconvinced. Meanwhile, Sophia is still monitoring Lilith from the riverbank, becoming increasingly nervous as the shark's location moves closer to her.